Hello everyone, welcome to the episode of The BT Show. I'm here to talk about the finale of Reacher Season 3. So let's just get right into it. Spoiler warning, so if you have not seen the show yet, do not move forward. And getting right into it, I thought this was a pretty solid season. I thought it was a pretty solid finale. We obviously end at the compound. It ends in a pretty expected way. Kind of the people we expected to die, died. The people expected we lived. I think I put this season probably ahead of Season 2, but behind Season 1, so I'd put 1, 3, 2. But overall, I think this is just a very enjoyable series of TV. And like I said in my previous review, this show is just enjoyable to have kind of in... not that it's a mindless show, but, you can't have every single show be a mystery box show, right? Like, I don't want this to be, like a mystery like Severance. So it's great to watch an action show like this along with Severance and even like a White Lotus all at the same time. Alan Ritchson, I think, does a great job. I didn't watch Blue Mountain State a ton, but I went back and watched some clips, and he really does seem way different, almost like a totally different person. It's probably just because he's so physically different, but he has really just, I feel overtaken this character and really become the character. And when I think of Reacher, I really think of him. I really think, like I said in my last review, the set pieces really determined the season, right? Season 1 was very small town, which I liked a lot. Season 2 was much sleeker. It was much more city-ish. And then Season 3 was like a compound. It's let's spend time at this big, gigantic mansion, which I like a lot. Growing up playing a lot of video games, first-person shooter games, my favorite type of maps, whether it be 007 games, Call of Duty, or anything like that, would always be the mansions. They always had really good maps on Call of Duty. They still do, of just these big sprawling mansions, and you can I just feel they're just really good for action scenes. You kind of remember different quirks throughout the house, so I thought it was very good. Overall, though, I think this show is missing a little something to make it truly elite. Maybe it's a little bit of writing. It's just missing that little extra. But so many people are watching, and it's a huge success, so I shouldn't really be the judge of that. Getting into more Season 3 and the spoilers, this obviously concludes at the party, and, it's a pretty standard plot, essentially. Beck dies protecting his son, which I thought was expected, and McCabe, who is kind of the main villain, is essentially trying to sell these guns to certain buyers so that he can get money and then take that money and pay off these other Russian gun runners. And then after that, he'll have his money. He'll then kill Beck, probably kill his son, and then leave town like he did the last time. So it's a pretty standard plot. Obviously, the sale goes wrong, and then when the Russians show up, he doesn't have the money. They eventually pay the Russians off to keep him, and Reacher kills him. Reacher knows him from years ago from a mission where he killed Reacher's assistant, who was a young woman. So yeah, pretty good plot. I don't think, like I said, they keep repeating a lot of the same story beats, which I like and I dislike. I like it because it's very 80s-ish, we keep getting just, Schwarzenegger, just keep doing the same thing over and over again. When I say that, I mean, when someone calls him Mr. Reacher and he just keeps saying, my name is just Reacher, I feel like they've said that a trillion times. And I haven't read the book, so maybe it's accurate to the book, and maybe book readers like that. But I can't, just as someone who watches the show, it's a little bit annoying. I don't really know what I want for the next season, because like I said, I haven't read the books, and I think they're going along with the books. They've done small town, they've done city, they've done big mansion. I don't even know, maybe the countryside, maybe another country, maybe Europe, maybe South America, who knows. But I think this show is really solid. In terms of, I feel like we might as well talk about it just because while we're talking about Alan Ritchson, and this is the biggest thing he's been in, and he wants to be Batman, and that's what I cover on this channel. So I guess let's talk about Alan Ritchson as Batman a little bit in the middle of this review. I just don't think he's a good fit for Batman. I think he's a little bit... Honestly, I don't think he's physically too big. A lot of people say I think he's too muscular. I think Batman, Bruce Wayne, has to be big, but in more of a not dad bod way, but more of just like a broad kind of way. He's not supposed to be like gigantically muscular, but he is definitely, I think, closer. It's supposed to be closer to Alan Ritchson, in my opinion, than to like a Christian Bale, who's like more, I guess wiry, but not totally wiry, but leaner, I should say, as Bruce Wayne. I think Alan Ritchson would be a great Aquaman. I think the Momoa version was great, as like a Samoan Aquaman. But I think the traditional blonde hair, blue eyed, even if they have to use, color contacts on Ritchson, I think he'd be really good. He already has played Aquaman, of course, in Smallville, but that was just kind of, a diet, half-assed version of it. So I don't think, I don't really love him, and I don't think he'd be a bad Batman, but I just don't love him so much as Bruce Wayne. And, he played Hawk in Titans, the old DC app show. Shout out to the old DC Universe app. And yeah, so I don't really love him as Batman. But yeah, like I said, just to close it out on Reacher, I think it's a solid show. I think, like I said, season 1, season 3, and then season 2, but all of it are quality seasons, and there really isn't like an action TV star. I mean, we have even in movies there aren't that many, but especially in TV shows, like Jack Ryan was a pretty good show, but yeah, he's really built a niche for himself, and I think Alan Ritchson, hopefully gets him to be more Schwarzenegger type movies. I think there's definitely a void for that. That's my cat, Murphy. Hello, Murphy. There's definitely a void for that, and I just think The Rock really missed an opportunity to make those types of movies, and now he's going more serious, and as he's getting older, he can't really put on that muscle mass. But Ritchson is about 42, which is the perfect age for it. So, yeah, I'm curious. I'm just excited to see where his career goes. I'm a big fan. I like this show. I'm excited for season 4. Like I said, it's just not a mystery box show, so it's tough to do reviews breaking it down. It's just a straightforward action show, and it's very solid. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.